So let's talk about this trade, the Luka Doncic trade, blockbuster, super blockbuster, unbelievable. Let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks and why maybe they might be fine. Maybe they still could be title contenders in the next couple years, perhaps. Let's talk about the same things for the Lakers. But I want to start just by emphasizing the moment, right? This is undeniably, in my opinion, a where were you when moment. Most people were in bed. This happened at like 1 a.m. Middle of the night, where were you when Luka Doncic got traded? I wake up, I go to get water middle of the night, and then check my phone, and every group chat's blowing up. Every CBS Sports, ESPN, whatever app you have, blowing up. Luka Doncic is traded to the LA Lakers. This sent shockwaves through the sports world. It is almost overshadowing the Super Bowl in some ways, just because Chiefs, Eagles, who really cares? We'll preview that game in a couple days on Thursday, ahead of it occurring on Sunday. But this trade, the Lakers receive Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris, and the Mavericks receive Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. And the Jazz receive Jalen Hood-Schifino, a 2025 second-round pick, and another 2025 second-round pick. So the question is why, right? Why in the world would this happen? On the Lakers side, it makes a whole lot more sense. They're investing in their future. People are, one idea circulating is that Anthony Davis leaving could potentially rub LeBron the wrong way and might motivate LeBron to leave or something along those lines. Or regardless, there'll just be disgruntlement there. But the Lakers aren't thinking in the short term. They're thinking past LeBron. They're thinking maybe this is LeBron's last year. Maybe he has a couple more in him. Regardless, the Lakers are thinking after LeBron, after AD, because their careers are close to ending. They are on the older side. Past that, what are the Lakers going to do? Because we've seen this problem occur before. Once the Lakers lost Kobe to retirement, they were lost. The Lakers were lost. It's really just the best way to describe it. I feel like consistently lottery team, the LA Lakers were. And then they stumbled upon LeBron or brought in LeBron, and they were fantastic. They won a championship. They're looking to win another one. Now it looks like they can even this year. We'll talk about that in a second. But one day LeBron's going to be gone, right? One day he's going to retire. And the future isn't Bronny James, right? And if you look at the Lakers roster, you really see LeBron, AD, and a whole lot of supporting cast, right? Which is totally fine. That's one of the reasons why I think the Lakers are intriguing and fun to watch, perhaps. But what's your plan after that? Now, clearly, it's Luka Doncic, which is one of the best ways the Lakers possibly could have gone with this. I have no idea how they pulled this off, but somehow, some way, the LA Lakers have Luka Doncic now on their roster. So they're investing in their future. The Mavericks, on the other hand, are thinking short term. And this is something that I think is important with this trade, is that you got to keep in mind that the Lakers and Mavericks have different goals, right? By the way, I still think that this trade was absolutely horrific and the Mavericks made a very big mistake. However, I think it is maybe not as bad as people are making it out to be. The Mavericks are prioritizing defense. There were conditioning concerns with Luka. I don't know anything about that, really. Obviously, don't know Luka Doncic, so I don't want to speak on that too much. Whatever's true is whatever's true, I suppose. But the Mavericks, too, clearly are prioritizing defense because Luka Doncic is a bona fide scorer and Anthony Davis is a bona fide defender. Now, this is insane because last season the Dallas Mavericks went to the finals. They won the Western Conference last year. That is important to remember. They go to the NBA Finals, and sure, they weren't the 1 seed in the West. They were, the 4 or 5, knocked out the Thunder, made their way to the finals. Regardless, the Mavericks make it to the NBA Finals, and if you go back and watch that finals, you got to look at why the Mavericks didn't win, right? What was the gap between the Celtics and the Mavericks? So the Celtics were objectively the better team in that series. So that's the question, is why? What were the Mavericks missing, perhaps? What did the Celtics have the Mavericks didn't? And to me, the answer is a third premier scorer. Mavericks had Luka, Mavericks had Kyrie, but they didn't have that premier third scorer that, to me, I could look at and say, that's the guy that's going to step up in a moment like that. On the other side, the Celtics, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, you go down the list, they definitely had guys that were a depth of scoring distribution, right? They had multiple guys that it felt like could hit the big shot at the end of the game. Really, for the Mavericks, it was just Luka and Kyrie was shaky in his own right. So that's what we thought that the Mavericks were missing, right, is a third premier scorer. And then this offseason, they went out and got him. This offseason, they got Klay Thompson. They bring in Klay Thompson. And then all of a sudden, the question is, the Mavericks for real could run it back. The Mavericks could for real be the best team in the West. And I remember thinking that this summer, realizing that Luka, Kyrie, and Klay were going to be on the same team. and they went through injury concerns, and maybe there's been cohesion issues, whatever. They've struggled. They're, I think, seventh. The Mavericks are, with injuries, like seventh in the West right now. Still, they're probably, with Luka, without Luka, whatever, a playoff team, and a team that, in a West that doesn't have a lot of playoff experience, still could be a team that could make a run. I was thinking about this just 2 weeks prior to this trade happening. I was looking at the West standings, and if you go down, Thunder, Rockets, Grizzlies, barely any playoff experience across the board for all three of those teams. The Nuggets are legit, but maybe it's not their year. The Lakers were legit still, but had struggles. You just go down the list, right? And the Mavericks seem to me to be the team with the most playoff experience in the last 3 years, perhaps, maybe besides the Lakers. Mavericks absolutely could have made a run in the playoffs once again. And it's insane because they trade away their, not Clay, not Kyrie, they trade away their face of their franchise, their generational talent, and Luka Doncic, after picking up what we thought was the third premier scorer, the last missing piece to making a finals run. We thought they were good. We thought they were complete. We thought they had the team that they could win a ring with once they brought in Clay. And now all of a sudden, the entire face of the franchise is entirely changing. Kyrie Irving is now the face of the franchise, which is not something that we thought we would be saying 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That's an insane thing to suggest. So how does this impact this season, right? For Dallas, I mentioned how the West lacks playoff experience and a true favorite to win it all. And although Kyrie, Clay, and AD are all old, although they are all washed up, some could say, perhaps, the Mavs have that. Kyrie Irving has won championships. Klay Thompson has won championships. They played in NBA Finals against one another. Anthony Davis, actually, won a championship with the Lakers. Plenty of playoff experience across the board. They're consistently in the playoffs. These are the stars that you see in the playoffs year after year after year. So the Mavs are really going all in on the next 1 to 3 years, and the reason why we know that is because Kyrie, Clay, and AD are all going out, right? They're all on their way out in their careers. Nico Harrison, one of the things he said in a press conference or a media publicity moment, speaking on this trade, he said that AD fit their timeline more, which is objectively true because Kyrie is on his way out in the next few years, Clay on his way out in the next few years, AD on his way out in the next few years. So I suppose the idea would be win a championship with this group and then fully reset. The reason why I disagree with that is because you can really have the same effect while keeping Luka. And Luka absolutely provides right away, instantly, you have a chance to make the playoffs every single year if you have Luka Doncic on your team, as long as everyone's healthy and things like that. And so, sure, Kyrie and Clay and Luka, Kyrie and Clay are going to retire soon, right? They're gonna leave the league soon, and it's just Luka, but you can still rebuild around Luka and reload with that new team and look to do the same thing the next year in terms of going out and winning another championship. It was very interesting to me that the argument was we're going to fully reset after we have these guys all leave. Maybe they know something about future drafts that I don't. I have no idea. Regardless, it confuses me, and I feel like Luka still should be the face of this franchise until the end of his career, and you can always build around Luka. No matter who retires, no matter who leaves, no matter who falls off, no matter who becomes washed up, you can always build around Luka. Maybe they thought that wasn't the case because of the conditioning concerns or whatever else. Maybe they know more. Well, they definitely know more than me. Maybe they know more than me in a way where I sound ignorant in this moment. But the Mavs obviously are going all in on the next 1 to 3 years because Luka's going to last much further than that. They give him away. It's Kyrie, Clay, and AD in their last few years of their careers. Can they pull together and win a championship in Dallas? This was probably not the move to maximize their potential of winning a championship because Luka took them to a championship finals appearance just last season. But that seems to be the mindset, is next 1 to 3 years, let's go win a championship with these guys. The Lakers, on the other hand, are trying to invest in their future and see a world without LeBron in the future because that's something that's going to become much more real, much more quickly. So the other question with that, and I mentioned how the Mavs are potentially wanted a third premier scorer, right? They had Luka and Kyrie, they added Clay, now they have 3 big-time scorers that can hit the shot at the end of the game. Maybe their improved defense with Anthony Davis offsets their need to score, right? Maybe it makes it so that they don't need to have a third premier scorer because they have the defense to keep the other team perhaps limited in the scoring margin across the board. And on the flip side with that, it is true also that Anthony Davis is a big and Kyrie Irving is a backcourt guy. You now have effectively 1 forward and 1 guard, and really 2 guards with Clay, rather than just having 3 guards and no front court, which is what the Mavericks looked like before. Then there's the argument that there's positionless basketball, right, where Anthony Davis isn't really a forward because what even is a forward in 2025, right? What even is a center? What even is a guard? Whatever. So Anthony Davis, sure, you have a big guy, you still have a shooter, two shooters. Maybe you're a little bit more balanced. Maybe you're a little bit more defensively oriented. If that's the direction that the Mavericks want to go, that's fine. The only way they win this trade is if they win a ring with Anthony Davis in these next 1 to 3 years. Maybe it's this year. They're going to struggle because, again, everyone is older, and sure, this West doesn't have a lot of playoff experience. It is very important that Kyrie, Clay, and AD have playoff experience. They're not going to be as nervous, perhaps. They'll be more composed across the board. Maybe if their improved defense offsets their need to score, and if the Mavericks can make a run, they can do something similar to what they did last year and maybe finish the job, because the best team in the East right now is the Cavaliers, who also don't have very much playoff experience. Absolutely, this could be a moment where the Mavericks surprise everybody, win a ring, and then really make us question whether or not they are a team that really messed up in this trade. But I think it's more likely that the Lakers go ahead and win a ring this year, because LeBron lost his guy, but gains a young superstar. LeBron, really great friends with Anthony Davis. Obviously, they had a great connection. Brings in Luka Doncic. I'm sure they'll get along perfectly well, although it's still unfortunate that LeBron loses some of that team chemistry. And LA now looks to be in prime position to take back the West. And maybe not this year, a little bit too far into the season, but the LA Lakers look like they are in a position to take back the West with those scores in LeBron and Luka Doncic and that supporting cast. Guys like Austin Reeves, Hachimura, great example, right? That supporting cast and those stars on the Lakers in this confusing Western Conference, I would be afraid of the LA Lakers amidst all the chaos, right? Whatever, I'm confident that the West playoffs are going to be insane because we have no idea how good every team really is in that period of time. The Thunder lost to the Mavericks in the second round last season. The Rockets haven't been there. The Grizzlies haven't been there. The Nuggets are what they are, a sneaky team that could accidentally make the finals. The Lakers now, we have no idea what they're going to look like. Same with the Mavericks. The Clippers are confusing. It's a confusing West. It's a chaotic West. It's the wild, wild West in the NBA, and it seems like the Lakers are the team now with the most star power, and they could potentially find their way in the finals once again and winning another championship. The Mavericks on the other side, different philosophy, different focus, different time window. They could win a championship themselves as well. Still, it is a confusing situation. It is a shocking and alarming situation. The Dallas Mavericks still might be title contenders, but it's certainly much more likely this year that the Lakers are the team to make it happen. I am going to remember where I was, what I was doing. I'm going to vividly remember the period of time in which I realized that Luka Doncic was going to the LA Lakers very vividly for a very long time, and I'm very excited to see who ends up winning this trade in the end.